call the actors that you see in background who don't have lines.
And we don't speak.
We don't speak, ever.
We just make everything look a little more realistic.
It's a great way for anybody that's interested in the film industry to get in and see what the reality of it is. You get to be on set, you get to learn the basics, like what is a mark, what is the protocol on set. A lot of waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting and patience.
And early rises, we get
Early
here
rises.
maybe 6 to 8 o'clock. 8, I think, has been the latest call.
6 has been the earliest. We
Yeah,
get here and we
5:30.
rush. We rush into the costumes, we get put into our great
Yeah.
costumes, and then we get our ears put on. And then we get our hats pinned on, because these are never going to come off.
Or if they're doing things like this with our hair, they do our hair first and then ears, and it's quite a long process, so
This isn't actually my hair.
We're all cast special skills on this one due to our size. If there was a size requirement and a look that was specific for this movie, they were looking for people who were sort of slightly elf-like.
I'm one of the tallest. I'm 5'6".
He's the gigantor of the group.
yeah,
I'm 5 feet tall.
5'2".
6'8".
And you're funny.
5'6" and 3/4.
What do you have? Give the director what he wants to see, what his vision is. When it goes, it's like, hands in the air, uplift. Remember your elves. As much as it's a catastrophe, it's still fun. Nobody gets hurt. When Buddy body checks somebody that's so small, he thought, got a bleacher. Let's pop into the bleachers, they break, everybody falls in a big hole in the bottom. So with the special effects department, we engineer how we can build these bleachers and manufacture them with a hinge and a hydraulic system in them so that they can pop up and slide in. There's about 4 people that I use for stunts. They're new in the industry, they're just starting out, so something like this, it's not really that difficult to do. As long as you've got some sense of your body and your spatial awareness, you can do this safely. There's a big mat down in the middle, there's lots of snow, we can do it safely, and we can do it again and again and again. And you can go home in one piece and tell your kids about it.
I'm a director of labor relations at Warner Brothers. I'm just returning your call. I know that you have raised some concerns, and I'd very much like to set up some time to speak with you. If you can give me a call back, my phone number is 416-525-7541, and we can set up a time to chat. Thank you.
Any safety concerns you have are lost in your accusations towards production members. Please do not phone me again unless it is a safety matter.
Brian, do you want to introduce yourself so everyone can see you?
Brian Schaefer, Manager of Production Safety with Warner Brothers. Nice to meet everyone. Don't know if I've met anyone on this call yet. Hope I'll be able to meet you guys face to face, or as I like to say, mask to mask sometime soon. Hopefully, yeah.
Hi, Richard. This is Felicia Clayton. I'm Senior Vice President of Labor Relations. I work with Kat Tomasoni, and she had tried to reach out to you earlier today in regard to information that we had received regarding your work on BatWoman. We want to get back with you and follow up about your concern. My number is 818-822-2184, but if you'd rather call Kat, you can call her at 7 Suite. Well, hold on one second. She left her number for you earlier, and I don't have it pulled out, but you can. Okay, thanks, Richard. Bye-bye.
Yes, hello. I appear in the movie Elf. I'm one of the green elves at the beginning and all the workshop Santa stuff. They shot that in Vancouver. So I say, yeah, I had the best Santa Claus training, Will Ferrell and Ed Asner as an elf, and now I'm Santa, trained by those people. Ha ha ha. So do I have credentials? Because of the poor conditions at the location. I'm a professional athlete, dancer, and a human being. Big F. Okay. Is Kat, is she on the line? Hello, Kat. Hello. My let's tell Christmas story. No, my associate producer, Louis Moulinet, used to work for Warner Brothers Animation down there, so I was at that studio quite often. And I've lived in Los Angeles a lot. I'm Screen Actors Guild Los Angeles local. And Canadian Actors Equity, Skate Canada coach, and UK Equity in London. Margot Robbie is a producer of Maid, and I know the production office is here near the hospital, but I actually toured with Nancy Kerrigan in Grease on Ice in 1998, 42 cities across the US, and we played the Detroit Arena where Tanya's thugs walloped her like 4 years after. And so, of course, Margot did I, Tanya, so I'm dying to tell her that story. I did reach out to Shane Rogers and Brian Schaefer, and they were very offended by some of the words in the biggest news today is Bonnie Henry announced a lockdown of Vancouver, all public gatherings outside the home, including work. Are you aware of all that? For 2 weeks. Oh, first of all, I'm so thrilled to be working again. I love being in the movies, working on the movies, all of that. I am HIV undetectable, positive undetectable. Do you know what that is? So undetectable is nobody knows what that is. On antiretrovirals, which are being used to treat COVID, it's sort of a key piece of science that nobody considers. Okay, so I go to work on BatWoman. I'm thrilled to go. It's an overnight shoot, prepare as much as possible. So location conditions are pretty atrocious with the way the transport's set up. Those 20 passenger vans with one driver, 2 people per passenger van, and it's pouring rain. Background is probably half a mile or more to set, and we need to go to set through puddles, gravel road, next to the train tracks, all that kind of thing, in high heels and formal wear, no accommodations made for getting to and from set. Pretty atrocious. I actually had I suggested to Shane, why don't you get, like, it's silly, a Disneyland type tram, open air covered, very long, you can just slide in, off, you're covered 6 feet apart, and then have that going to and from lunch, to and from set, but also we're waiting 45 minutes in the rain at 5 a.m. after 14-hour shoots because they don't have the transport together. The reason I mentioned the sort of immune compromised thing, nobody knows what undetectable is, everyone knows what AIDS is. I try to educate people, but so I'm all over the COVID protocol. I carry my HIV results with me to show people because they don't know what my undetectable means. Stunts are not wearing masks on the set, and even the star, while we're denied probably the hair and makeup union, whatever, hair and makeup, we're not allowed to be touched. We're berated on set about wearing the masks. We're talking too long together wearing the masks. We're being told by AD that we will be responsible for shutting down the production because we're not listening to the COVID compliance officer that you hire through MedCorps. Meanwhile, stunts are on set, no mask, with he's the bat villain. Who is he? He's wearing a bat bodysuit hood. No mask, either hooded or not. And the stars get to lavishly, indulgently touch up their high definition makeup with me standing right behind them with my mask on, and that's putting everyone that's not COVID protocol. And the stars and stunt union get the exemptions on set, while it is like stepping into I've been to Auschwitz, Birkenau, private tours, I've filmed there. It's not like Canada anymore, stepping onto a Warner Brother. I've been to Auschwitz, I've filmed in Auschwitz, I know what it feels like stepping onto that BatWoman set in that neurotic, paranoid, fearful environment with the stars and stunts getting exceptions to the COVID protocol is like stepping onto an internment camp property. It's not Canada anymore. For us, we're Canadians. We're being the scapegoats for potentially shutting down the show, while the American stars get exemptive treatment from the onset COVID protocol. Ouch. Now that's what Shane was offended by, Now he's doing his job conditionally then, because I know Brian Schaefer has blocked me from emails, or they're not taking calls. They're offended by what I said. If you're going to have an on-set protocol, and then the whole laughable part is, okay, rolling, take off your masks. I'm hugging and air kissing the lead actress from Miami. Cut, put your mask. It's kind of a joke. And because we've all stepped on set because we've tested negative. The on-set protocol, I mean, we're all trying our best. We're all trying to create magic. We're thrilled to work. We're being the scapegoats. Well, how many Warner Brothers shows are in British Columbia? You know, it's November. We're in the tents. We're changing in the tents with them blowing down, and I miss my meal because it takes forever to be, you know, change into my haute couture. And then I get bumped out of COVID line because Javisha Leslie comes and she gets to go first, and I miss my union meal. The conditions are, here's what the response will be, is industry standard, and it's not good enough anymore. But you can't afford to have another Batman with Robert Pattinson shut down for 2 weeks. We step on to go to work, and it's not Canada anymore. In fact, it's even worse than that. It is like stepping into a camp. And I'm working 6 feet away from the star and the stuntman. They're treated very differently than I am. And I'm, you know, I ran for SAG national delegate, convention delegate. I got 600 votes. Elliot Gould got 6,000. Oh, well, I don't even live there. But she's American, I'm Canadian. We're being treated industry standard and worse, which is not very good, because why? Our union of BC performers does nothing other than what's on the collective agreement. And you know what? The union of BC performers doesn't allow the office staff to work in the office because they all get to work at home. We're the frontline workers. All of us in the movie industry, we're all thrilled to be leading edge working, but it is a joke. These hoops and let's show the government and COVID tests. Camera rolling. These hoops and let's show the government and COVID tests. Camera rolling. Masks off. No protocol. I mean, it is kind of a joke. And it can't be working because COVID is on the rise in the movie industry. I know Julie Altman Kresner, the COVID compliance officer for MedCorp, when I called her and actually raised all these concerns. So I'm coming from a point where my mom was an old school nurse. She had a nursing service. I watched the best in action. Nurses. She said, you know, I really think you have some mental health issues. Now, is that a professional assessment, or is that just because I found out that she left the set the first night I worked with stuntman not wearing a mask to go deal with positive COVID cases in other departments? She has a yellow card which allows her to worker B go from all these different departments. You know, is she actually potentially spreading COVID herself? But that kind of comment is not a nurse. That's not a COVID compliance supervisor for all of Canada. I recommend you get rid of Med. Because she's going to the AD and saying background is not listening. The AD is having speeches that the background people are not listening. Will be the reason why this production is shut down. Really? Meanwhile, Javisha's over off in the corner doing her lips again and strutting around with no bat villain hood on and no mask. So that's why I'm calling, and that's why I'm speaking up. And you know what? I'm not afraid to speak up. Warner Brothers is corporate. Your protocol is basically to protect Warner Brothers. Okay, lunch. Okay, you can't walk on the airport tarmac behind the set. You have to go between the back cars next to the railroad tracks. It's pitch black. There are puddles. It's a gravel road. The trains are going by. It's raining. There's no light. probably same half a mile to the catering tent. Crew gets to eat right next to catering. We get our lunch and have to walk back to background holding. You know what? I hate to say this word, but I actually wanted to work both nights, but I have a pre-existing injury from COVID quarantine. I came home from Austria with a broken foot, had to be in quarantine. I really wrecked my foot. I blew my wad the first night because of the poor conditions at the location. I'm a professional athlete, dancer, and a human being. Big F.